Okay, Satnam, welcome back. In this really short tutorial video, what my hope is to guide you through the foundational breath in Kundalini Yoga, which is called breath of fire. Breath of fire is somewhat similar to what is called Kapalabhati in the Hatha Yoga tradition, although it's practiced with some difference. Breath of fire has a long litany or list of benefits ranging from being able to cleanse and purify your blood to also stimulating your metabolism. It's a really great pranayama or breath work to practice maybe first thing in the morning after you get up out of bed. It's a really good wake up solarizing breath practice. Or another really great time to practice your breath of fire is in the afternoon when you might find yourself flagging or having the classic afternoon slump. Instead of reaching for the tea or coffee, you could sit yourself down and do a few minutes of breath of fire practice. So find yourself comfortable wherever you are on your mat or even sitting against a wall or in your chair or wherever you are at home, somewhere where you can feel like your back is supported and you can sit up nice and straight. This is the first thing to do for sure. Ground down through the sit bones, lengthen the spine. And for good posture and for good freedom of breath, Jalandhara Bandh is always helpful. So that's a lifting of the heart, tucking of the chin, and sides of the neck glide back in space behind you. Exhale the breath wherever you are. Your hands can just relax, face up or down on your knees. And the breath of fire is very measured and very steady. So it's this steady quality that actually will render you very steady, hopefully with some time and practice. So it's very stabilizing to the mind, body, and spirit. And also, I like to think of breath of fire as an adaptogenic breath, if you will. So, for example, if we have a line here, if you have a tendency to be a little anxious or a little ahead of time and space, breath of fire can bring you back to this neutral pocket here. And then maybe there's a tendency to be lagging behind a little bit, maybe a little bit towards depression or can't quite kick the covers off in the morning. The pranayama, the breath, also brings you back to a nice, steady, equanimous state. So that's the hope, and that comes in time with practice. So now for the practice, it's also important for me to mention that the breath is contraindicated if you're on your moon cycle, menstruating first 3 days. It's better to practice a long, deep yogic breath and just avoid breath of fire for a couple of days. It generally just won't feel very comfortable, as it's quite a dynamic breath where the navel point is moving back and forth towards your spine. Also, if you're pregnant, it is also best to practice long, deep breathing, particularly in your early, the first and second trimester. Maybe later on in your pregnancy, you'll be able to, of course, you know your body best and decide for yourself. Also, breath of fire is definitely not a comfortable practice to attend to after you've eaten a big meal. So you want to have an empty stomach. Drinking a cup of tea, glass of water is absolutely fine. Importantly as well, the breath of fire is not paradoxical breath. It's this is really important. It's not hyperventilating. So you're not getting yourself into some sort of state and you think you're having a Kundalini awakening and you need to go to the Alfred Hospital. No, that's not the situation at all. It's a very steady, it actually is stimulating your sympathetic nervous system, but in turn, your parasympathetic nervous system is activated and you become more cool and calm and the anxieties start to subside. Okay, so now that we've cleared up the dangers of the Kundalini Yoga practice, this is how we do it. So straight spine, employ your Jalandhara Bandh, and exhale the breath wherever you are. And to initiate this breath, the easiest thing to do, beginner's mind is always a good place to start, is dog panting breath. So don't be shy, open your mouth, stick out your tongue, pant like a dog. So you can see A little hard to do this and talk and instruct at the same time, but as I'm panting, navel point is moving automatically back and forth to spine. This is the action that comes from the navel point, or it's called the Navi in yoga, which is solarizing and strengthening, builds a sense of courage and sovereignty, all from the central channel of your being, the third chakra. So dog panting breath is a great way to learn your breath of fire. So from there, inhale. Hold the breath lightly, your face is soft, and then exhale, relax and let it go. Okay, Sat Nam, well done. From there, full breath of fire, if you're feeling ready, which I think you might be, is an even steady inhale and exhale through your nostrils only. So actually that's all you need to focus on in breath of fire is your breath in and out of your nostrils only. Your belly will automatically go back and forth to spine. I'll demonstrate for you. Your body is very steady and your head is upright, so there's no wobbling around and the body's shaking. None of that business is going on. Steady, rhythmic breath. So what you might have noticed at the beginning of my breath of fire practice, my body was shaking around a little bit. It does take time to just find a very steady, measured rhythm, so that's okay. In the beginning, maybe there's a little bit of this one, and then you start to find a very nice signature, if you will, of the breath. A really nice mantra to run through your head, to come out of the ruminating mind, is to mentally vibrate sa, ta, na, ma with the breath of fire. Satanama, 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 satanama. This is your measurement or metronome, if you will. And then you just ease into it. Just inhale, exhale through the nose only, and you become very still and very steady. And it's really a very peaceful practice. To conclude your practice, you inhale deep, suspend the breath, you pull up on the Mula Bandha, that's the root lock, so you squeeze rectum, sex organ, navel to spine, tip of the tongue presses the roof of the mouth. And exhale, release and relax. And observe here, observe the effects of the pranayama, so just sit and be a witness to that. Maybe there's some effervescence moving through the body, the feeling of the air on your skin or the heart rate beating. Just sit with self, observe. Know that you can also feel maybe a sense of overwhelm when practicing breath of fire, where you feel like the breath is up in your chest and you might feel a little bit anxious. What's going on? This is the very thing I didn't want to cultivate in my yoga practice. I'm wanting to relax and chill out. Sense of overwhelm, this is nervous system resetting or recalibrating. It will pass in time, so know that resistance will come. You might freak out a little bit. Start with 60 seconds. Build to 90 seconds. Take it to 3 minutes. Eventually, you'll be able to practice breath of fire for 5 to 11 minutes, and you'll feel really well and good. If the sense of overwhelm comes up, you can always squeeze your hands, or best thing to do is simply to relax, rest royally, stop the breath, sit with self, and take long, deep yogic breaths in and out of your nose until you feel steady, and then come back to your dog panting breath or breath of fire. I hope this short tutorial was helpful for you, and Sat Nam.